On October 26, 2020, the Silverado Canyon fire caused over 100,000 local residents to evacuate their homes. We interviewed evacuee Dr. Steinberg on her experience and environmental expertise.
Son started getting texts from all his friends who live all over Irvine, and they were sending him pictures of the fire. And, one of them showed the flames really not that far away from where we, like within a mile of where we live on the freeway. And then the second the alert came through that we should go, then everybody was really rushing to kind of get out from Irvine. When we saw that picture of the fire, we knew we needed to actually go because we knew how close it was. And I looked out the door and I could see the smoke pretty close to our house. And I said, okay, we got to go.
Dr. Steinberg returned to Irvine later that night to find out their disabled neighbor and his caretaker could not evacuate.
And so around 8 in the evening, as we're getting closer to leave, she says, hey, before you guys go, can you help me get him in the car? Because he's agreed to leave, because he wasn't going to leave the house because it's too much of a pain for him. And he didn't really see the need to leave. And I went over and I said, okay, yeah, we'll help you. But I'm not that strong. So I had my husband and son help try to get him in the car. But the interesting thing was, two men, because our son is 17 and he's really strong, they couldn't lift him into the vehicle. And so they tried for probably a good half an hour.
Non-emergency services were called, and a fire truck came to assist the disabled man.
But it took like 4 strong firemen with pulleys to lift him from his wheelchair into this truck she had so that they could go somewhere. It was an interesting lesson in social vulnerability, like who's vulnerable when there is a disaster, when there is a fire. Kind of a scary experience, but it taught me a healthy respect also for the environment and the elements. And you really have no idea what's going to happen in a situation like that. So you're way better off leaving. Yeah.
We asked Dr. Steinberg how climate change is impacting California wildfires.
I was in a department of forestry at UC Berkeley where I did my master's degree. And then in the Peace Corps, I did forestry too, planting trees. And so, well, I think it's tied to climate change. And I think it's also tied to, the environment is changing. And I think that and we've also encroached into the wildland urban interface a lot more than, we have in the past. And so in the past, maybe a fire would have come through, but there would not have been homes there. But nowadays, you're going to see so much development, it's encroached into that area. And I think that we've had drought for a number of years. And so we're just more prone when you have wind, those special conditions that lend itself to fire, that we're more prone to it. But I know from having read some of the literature, and I study extreme weather as well, that the kind of thing we're seeing with some of those major fires that happened up in Northern California in the last few years is they really kind of developed their own climate, developed their own fire NATOs, and they do things. The fires aren't behaving as the way you might expect it from the past. So the old modeling system is off. Whatever old models were there about, well, this area of the community should be safe because our models indicate that. I believe you need to do new modeling because all those areas that actually got burned up in Santa Rosa, et cetera, they on the models should have been safe, but in reality, they were not safe. So the nature of fire and extreme fire danger has changed over time. And I don't think that the emergency planners have accounted for that, for the scientific models changing and the fact that it's a lot more intense and you're getting these kind of fires you've never seen before. I think the way we think about fire has to be updated for emergency management for sure.